Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to SM Public Academy Campus 5. As you all know, I am your English teacher, Miss Sabarif, and today we will be having an English language class. Okay, so today I will be telling you to do some work in the English language copies, but make sure that you don't have to turn in these copies next week, so don't get panicked. All the assignments that I will be giving you today and that I have given in this week, I want them after the monthly tests on next Monday or next Wednesday whenever you come. Okay, so don't get panicked and just follow the instructions given in the class carefully, okay? So today we'll be doing a composition writing. Basically, we have only done I think two compositions so far. One was on the patience and tolerance and the another one was on the Pakistan Day. So today we'll be doing a composition writing. But before we begin with the composition writing, I want you people to understand certain things about a composition or an essay. Actually, what you are writing, you should understand why you are writing it and what are the types. Okay. So our topic for today is a disastrous calamity. Now, first of all, the topic itself is a little difficult for you people to understand, I believe. So you need to first find out the meaning of both the words disastrous and calamity. Okay, what is disastrous? Disastrous is something that causes, destruction, that is destructive, that due to which something, falls apart, that causes some huge destruction. Okay. And calamity is basically what we call the end of the world when everything will be flying, like mountains and everything. So basically, we are referring a calamity is like a very destructive thing, something that has happened and it has caused a lot of destruction. So if you look at the pictures around that I have given, you can get an idea that what is a disastrous calamity. Okay, so when we are writing an essay on a disastrous calamity, we will be actually not writing it on all the topics. You have to choose one topic. Okay, any one topic you can choose, and then you can start writing about it. Okay, first of all, you have to give a brief description of what is a disastrous calamity, and then you have to start writing. Okay, is that understood, beta? Clear? Okay, so okay, Hamza Mustafa, it's good that you are understanding. So basically, see, a disastrous calamity like here, if you look, it can be okay. It can be an earthquake that has caused a vast devastation. If you look at the first picture here, okay, looking at the first picture, you can see that a disastrous calamity or a destructive, a natural disaster. That is what actually exactly means. A destructive natural disaster can be, an earthquake where you have all the houses, all shattered and all fallen apart. Then in the second picture, you can see that it is a disastrous calamity can be a hurricane or some kind of a whirlpool or a storm, hurricanes and different kinds of floods that arise from the water that come from the sea. Okay, then in the third picture you can see massive fires, huge fires. They can also be actually very destructive. If I remember it correctly, last year there was a fire in the Amazon and it was so bad that it, kept burning for about weeks. And actually, it added a lot of pollution to the world because definitely when there's burning going on and it's going on for weeks, then definitely it causes a lot of pollution also. So there are many harmful effects of a disastrous calamity. It not only affects the physical land features, but it also affects people's lives and it also affects the environment. Okay. Now, if you look at the fourth picture, definitely that is a flood where everything has been destroyed. Now, these are the rooftops. If you see in picture number 4, these are rooftops that are actually only visible, and I think probably a whole city or a whole town has, been covered by water. Everything is underwater here. Then if you look at the snowy picture here, now looking at the snowy picture, we see that, This is an avalanche. Now, what is an avalanche? An avalanche is when a lot of ice starts moving down from a snowy mountain, okay? And its speed is so fast that anything that comes into its way, whether it's a person, whether it's a house, whether it's a cottage, or whatever it is, it gets destroyed, okay? So it's an avalanche, and it's usually common in the mountainous areas, especially in the mountainous areas of Pakistan. Even yesterday, I saw it in the news that the road to Gilgit Baltistan has been closed because uh, there is a huge, what do you call it, landsliding. A landsliding has occurred from a mountain. So basically, these avalanches they bring landslidings, and when these avalanches move, a huge amount of mountainous rocks and everything comes down to earth, and definitely it blocks anything in between. So yesterday I was listening in the news that a road was blocked. Actually, the only way that leads to Gilgit Baltistan has been blocked because of a massive landslide. Okay, that is, the land has slided down to the road, and it has brought along with it rocks and mud and soil, and so there is no way for the cars or the vehicles to pass the road, and the whole road is blocked. Okay, then if you look at this picture, definitely here it looks something like Karachi a few months back. I believe so Karachi was having same kind of a picture. If you remember the last rains that we had, that they were actually disastrous, and many people suffered losses because of that. Okay, so these are the car tops or the rooftops of cars, which you can see that everything has been flooded here also. And in the last picture here, you can see this is some kind of a volcano that has actually erupted. Okay, a volcanic eruption. A volcanic eruption is very dangerous, children, because it brings along with it, what? Lava, molten lava. That is the molten earth, the soil in the form of fire. Okay, so now looking at all these pictures, I think you must have got an idea what is a disastrous calamity. Okay, how can we be affected by a disastrous calamity? So first of all, let's begin. Okay, now when we are writing essays, the four major types of essays we need to know actually here are, I'm telling you them, and let's see. Distinguishing between types of essays is simply a matter of determining the writer's goal. So basically, when we are distinguishing that, okay, which type of an essay we are writing today, that is actually, we the type is assumed, or the type is prescribed when you know what you have to write. Okay, so whatever I want to write, I need to first understand my topic so that I can specify it under one of the types of an essay. Does the writer want to tell about a personal experience, describe something, explain an issue, or convince the reader to accept a certain viewpoint? Okay, so basically the four major types of essays address these purposes. So we have four major types of essays, children. The first one where they are describing about a personal experience, that is a narrative. Okay, it's called a narrative. When we are telling somebody about a personal experience, that is called a narrative. Okay, look here, this one, a personal narrative. When we are discussing a personal experience, that is a narrative writing where you are describing a situation in which you were there. Okay, excuse excuse me. Second one is to when you describe something, this is in simple words, a descriptive essay. Okay, when you are describing something, when you are actually telling the details about something. It can be a thing, it can be a situation, it can be anything. The third one is explain an issue. Explaining an issue is called an expository essay. It's expository essay where you explain an issue. Basically, you pick up any issue and any regular issue anywhere and you explain it. Okay, that is why it is called an uh, expository essay. You explain an issue. And the fourth one is when you convince the reader to accept a certain point view. That is, that is called a persuasive essay. When you are pursuing somebody, you are actually convincing somebody to accept your point of view. That is, you are giving facts and details, and you are telling the person that this is right and this is wrong. So you are actually trying to enforce your point of view on other person. So this is called a Persuasive essays. So I have told you basically four types of essays here. Let's see what are they. First of all, I told you it's a narrative where it tells the story. Now, it's not actually telling a story only, but it can be any personal experience. Okay, that is called a narrative. Then you have the descriptive that puts a picture in your head. That is, you describe a thing so well that the reader can actually picturize whatever you are saying. Even if you're describing a bag, say for instance, then the reader can actually make a picture of that bag in his mind, that what kind of a bag you're talking about. Or maybe if you are describing a beautiful valley, then the reader can actually picturize, have a picture of it in his mind. Okay. Expository, as I told you, it is explaining something. When you're explaining the facts about something, you're giving details. And persuasive is when you want the audience to agree with you. Okay. When you want to persuade somebody, when you want to enforce somebody to agree with your ideas. Okay. So these are the four types of essays. And actually, what we are doing today is a mixture of a descriptive and an expository essay, because we will be describing a situation. And okay, it's not a narrative writing. First of all, let me clear this to you people, that I don't want you people to write that you were stuck somewhere in a disastrous calamity. No, you have to write an essay where you have to describe any past event that has happened. You can pick any one event that how you must have heard or you must have read about in the past, and you have to describe it. Okay. Okay, now the writing process. Steps in writing an essay. First of all, you have a pre-writing thing. That is, you give just the raw facts about something, that pre-writing, that what you want to write about, what are the general facts about it, whatever comes into your mind, you just put it down. Okay, you are brainstorming basically. You are putting down all the relevant information that comes into your head regarding the topic on a piece of paper. Okay, then you have planning and organizing. Now, when you're planning and organizing, that is where actually you are, numbering your thoughts, that which thing should come first and which one should come second. Okay. Definitely, when I pick a topic, there are thousands of ideas that, just come up into my mind. Now, when I have so many things coming up into my mind, rather than, organizing them first, just write all of them down and then start organizing your thoughts. Like you should know that which lines or which things you have to state in the beginning and in the introductory paragraphs, then what's going to come in the body, and then what's going to come in the conclusion. Okay, so you just plan and organize it. Then the third step is drafting. That is, you write a rough draft of it. That okay, I'm gonna begin in this way, and I'm gonna use these conjunctions, these words, this kind of. You can also pick some, sayings of great people. If you have some relevant things that you find on the internet, you can always pick, the proverbs, the sayings, the idioms, because they actually give a good weightage to your writing. Then revise and editing, that is, of course, you always have some parts that are extra. You think that okay, you have this as a repetition, this thing I've already given in the beginning, now I need not to put it again. So what you have to do is you have to revise and edit your text. That is, you have to cut down the irrelevant details and just make sure you are only giving the things that are necessary. Okay. Then finally you write the final draft, that is your composition. You're going to write down in your copy and turn it into me. Okay, so that I will be checking. So what I will be getting in your copy is the final draft. All this is for you people to do, and then I want the final draft. Now, what I have seen you people are habitual to is you just have a, you just put down the essay topic and you start writing on it directly in your copy. Please don't do that. I don't want that kind of work. If you want to make a mind map in your copy, I allow you. You can make a mind map in your copy, make a bubble kind of a thing, and just jot down all the ideas around it and then begin from the next page. I don't mind that. But I need to have a relevant, a structure of your composition where I can see that actually you people have written it yourself and you have not copied it from somewhere. Okay. And please don't copy paste. I don't like that. Try writing yourself. It's a very easy topic. The heading sounds, very difficult, a disastrous calamity, but actually, if you understand, it's just a natural disaster. So it's very easy. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Now, what are the components of writing short essays? Definitely, we are writing short essays. We are not writing very lengthy theses or big essays here. So, the first is the introduction. You all know, you introduce your topic. You give a relevant introduction of your topic, that this is what I am writing. Okay, this is my topic for today. And then you give a thesis, that is, you give your uh, a statement about it, your reason for choosing the topic, your reason on that topic, or you actually describe the topic, okay, in that. Then you write the main body, that is definitely where you are writing, stating facts, details, figures, and everything about the topic, okay. The second last is supportive evidence. Now here you can, if you're writing a natural disaster, then actually you can give any evidences that this hurricane was reported on TV live, or this earthquake had a live coverage from the media, or you're giving evidences that what happened and how it happened. Okay, so you have to make sure you write it down all clearly. Okay. And then the last is the conclusion, of course, where you conclude, you write your final remarks. Now, if you are writing a conclusion in a disastrous essay, so how will you write it? How will you, make it your essay have look presentable? Because see, the introduction and the ending are, it should be very nice. They should leave an impression, because usually people start, if they don't find your text interesting in the introductory paragraph, they don't read the next paragraph. And sometimes people read the first and the last paragraph to understand what you are writing, basically. So when you are writing the last paragraph, make sure you you give a hope. You are a ray of hope in the end. You don't actually conclude by being very pessimistic or very negative, that we don't take care of such things and we should not do this, and the government doesn't do anything. Don't write such lines. Rather, prefer some lines that are actually optimistic and positive. Okay, be like, okay, we all need to take the necessary measures to meet with such kind of disasters, because definitely they cannot be controlled, and you have to give such kind of lines. Okay, so make sure when you are writing, you are giving correct words, and you're using the correct terms. Okay, so brainstorm. Now this is something very important, and this is something that we all need to understand, because this is very important. As I told you, when you're writing something, write down first of all everything that comes into your mind as soon as you read the topic, each and everything. Then, if you need to find out certain details, like definitely, if I want to remember that how many people died in the 8th October earthquake in Pakistan, that was the most disastrous earthquake that has ever hit Pakistan and history. So definitely, I don't remember the exact figures and the exact amount, the amount, how many, what was the economic loss, the exact figures. So definitely, I need to browse the internet and find them. Okay. So that will also come into brainstorming, that write down everything relevant to the topic in your brainstorming. And those of you who don't know what is brainstorming, let's read it out. You cannot write an essay unless you have an idea of what to write about. Okay. Brainstorming is a process in which you come up with the essay topic. You need to simply sit and think of ideas during this phase. Write down everything that comes to mind, as you can always narrow those topics down later. Use clustering or mind mapping to brainstorm and come up with an essay idea. This involves writing your topic or idea in the center of the paper and creating bubbles, clouds, or clusters of related ideas around it. Brainstorming can be a great way to develop a topic more deeply and to recognize connections between various facts of your topic. So basically, when you're brainstorming, you just write your topic in the center of the page, and you start, drawing bubbles around it, or you can even draw simply lines around it, connectors that you call. And you can just, connect your whole essay, and you can jot down all the points that you remember. And then in the second phase, you can number them, that, okay, I'm going to write this thing in the introductory paragraph. This one is going to come into the body. This is going to be my supporting evidence. This is going to be my conclusion. So basically, what you are doing in here is you are just jotting down, writing down each and every idea that comes into your mind, okay, in the brainstorming section. And this is the foremost thing that you need to do, okay? So let's see. Now, this is my actually my mind mapping or brainstorming. You don't have to do it exactly the same way. Now, a natural calamity. Now, see, I have put four different calamities behind so that you can also understand again what is a natural calamity. It's a natural disaster. Okay. Define natural calamity. What is a natural calamity? What is a disastrous calamity? What is, What I have to write about, define the word calamity itself. What is a calamity? Then give examples of natural calamities. You can say that, the natural calamities that the earth is often hit by can be floods, tsunamis, avalanches, landsliding, volcanoes, storms, and many, many more. You can search them on the internet. Particular incident you want to discuss, then that, this is your first paragraph, the first and the second bubble, then the third bubble, you will have to be like, particular incident that you want to talk about. That is uh the last or the most major earthquake that had as Pakistan was on the 8th of October, or major landsliding that occurred in Pakistan was in November this year, like this. You have that, and then you start giving details, facts, and figures about your uh okay, about your incident that you're talking, the natural calamity that you're talking about. Now, please, the students, make sure you don't write a jumbled up essay where you are describing all the natural disasters at the same time. Don't do that. I want any particular thing that you choose, any particular incident, any particular natural calamity that you choose, and start writing about it only, okay? Make sure you only write about it. Then discuss effects and causes. That is, you will be writing the effects and causes. What was the effect of that one calamity on people? Definitely, it leaves people devastated. It leaves people homeless. It really makes there was a huge death toll usually after a natural disaster or a disastrous calamity, where you have people dying, children crying, and a lot of panic situations there. And how the people overcome it. Have the people been still suffering from the losses of it, or have they now been able, after so many years of that natural incident, that has their life come back to normal as yet or not? And then you write, conclude in a positive and hopeful manner. And this is exactly what I was telling you before as well, that when you're concluding, be positive. Try to give statements that are actually that make the reader feel that, okay, there's after every night there's a day. So after every calamity, after every natural disaster, we have to be positive. We need to have a positive attitude towards life. We can just not stop living. We can just not stop you know being ourselves after, if we have been hit by something very, very, very tough. So be positive. That's all. I mean, I want to people to be. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now the introduction. These are some of the lines that can be used in the introductory paragraphs. Now, please, one thing more, one thing again, I need to tell you people, and I am repeating it again. Please don't do this, that you just copy the lines from here and you directly write them down in the copy and make up an essay. Please don't do this. These are some of the introductory lines you can use. That means you can pick any one, two, three of them, but don't write 100% that same text, because I know what I have written, okay? And I'll straight away, mark it wrong, because I don't want you people to try copy 100% what I'm writing. I'm only giving you an example that how you can begin the essay, what can be your opening lines, okay? So you can pick any of these lines, no issue, or you can just change them in your own words and write them down. But these can be some of the introductory lines, like, say, for example, here, calamity is an event causing great or often sudden damage or distress, a disaster. This is now I'm defining calamity. Okay, this can be an opening line. A natural disaster is an unforeseen occurrence of an event that causes harm to society. Okay, so now I'm describing, okay, natural calamity, the natural disaster, that, an unforeseen occurrence. That means, what is an unforeseen occurrence? That means it cannot be predicted. Okay. Now, don't say that, storms can be predicted, or the hurricanes, or the different, like America was hit by hurricane and storms in the last few decades. So they always say that, okay, it's 2 meters away, it's 5 meters away, it's 10, it's 10 miles away, like this. So that is not actually predicting. That is when you can predict, but you cannot do anything regarding it. So this kind of a prediction is called an unforeseen occurrence, where you can actually, through the radars and through your monitoring teams, you can find that something is coming up, but you cannot do anything to help it except to evacuate the places. That is, to empty out the places from people, tell them from before that leave this place, because this place can be hit this place will be most severely hit, this place will be less severely hit, this place will be more having the most damage this year. So these things can be predicted due to the advancement in science and technology, definitely. Our Earth has suffered a great deal of recurring natural disasters that have repeatedly put a strain on people's lives. So these are all the opening lines. You can use any one of them. Each year, natural disasters affect different parts of the world in various forms. Natural disasters often result in loss of lives and money. There are many natural disasters that damage the environment and the people living in it. Some of them are earthquakes, cyclones, floods, tsunami, landslides, volcanic eruptions, and avalanches. Now, some of them are these, there can be any other if you can think of. An earthquake is when the earth moves itself, the tectonic plates they move apart from one another, or they try to overcome on one another, and the land it gets shattered. Then you have the cyclones. You know what are cyclones? Cyclones are actually the storms from the sea. You have floods. Floods are coming in from the rivers when the capacity is overdone or it's full. Tsunamis. This is a new word that we have come across in the last 1 or 2 decades, where tsunami was a very high tide that actually occurs due to the earthquakes. It is actually a tsunami is actually a result of an earthquake. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but a tsunami. And make sure how you spell a tsunami. It's not a T tsunami, it's a tsunami. Excuse me. Landslides, I told you, when the land moves down. Volcanic eruption, when a volcano or what do you call it? A lava mountain. Yeah, a lava mountain when it bursts open or it erupts. That's a volcanic eruption. And avalanches. Avalanches are the moving ice, when the ice on the top of the mountains moves in huge amounts towards the ground. Okay, tragedies of towns getting torn apart were reported, as well as occurrence of many deaths, disabilities, and shelter damage. People have been losing relatives, friends, shelter, and property. So these are some of the opening lines. Come up with your own opening lines. Introduce your paragraph in your own way. It's, your own essay in your own way. These are some of the examples I've given you. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the body. Now, choose the calamity you want to describe in detail. Find facts related to it. Here are some examples. Now, how can you begin? As I told you, you can begin. The introductory paragraph will be more or less the same for most of you, because definitely we're introducing the same topic. But the body will be different. Everybody. I mean, if there are 30 or 40 students in a class, all of them can have different, structure of their paragraphs in the body. Because why? Because you can choose different topics. Okay. So, despite being so technologically advanced, humans have had trouble facing natural calamities. Now, for example, Hurricane Harvey proves this fact very well. Hurricane Harvey's impact was so bad that people had to leave behind their homes and run for cover. Now, this is Hurricane Harvey, which I'm talking about here, okay? This was hit, America was hit by this Hurricane Harvey, okay? So you don't have to write Hurricane Harvey. You can write anything you want. This is just an example. Now, if you want to find figures and facts about Hurricane Harvey, okay, search the internet and find them. Okay, then the second one is the Indian Ocean tsunami traveled as far as 3,000 miles to Africa and still arrived with the sufficient force to kill people and destroy property. So now I'm talking about the Indian Ocean tsunami, the tsunami that occurred in the Indian Ocean. It caused destruction all the way up till Africa. Earthquakes refer to the shaking of the Earth's surface due to the tectonic movement of plates. An earthquake can occur anytime and cause destruction to mankind. The intensity of some earthquakes is low and they go unnoticed, while there are earthquakes that are so strong and cause adverse consequences. The earthquake that hit Pakistan's northern areas on 8th October 2005 were one of the most devastating earthquakes. Okay, so now I've mentioned the 8th October 2005 earthquake here. That was actually a very devastating one. So you can have any other topic that you want. It's just, for you people to understand. And the conclusion. Now, the concluding lines can be, now when you're concluding, be positive. As I said, there are many other natural disasters that have proven to be fatal. So it's the need of an hour that people and government should understand these disaster management guidelines that help in reducing the impact of disasters on the earth. Okay, So this can be a concluding line where actually you're saying that, we need to take steps. We need to have certain disaster management guidelines so that we can reduce the impact. Definitely, we cannot face the natural disasters because they are from God. Okay. We can't control them, but we can lessen their effect by having some management guidelines. We must be prepared for natural disasters. We must train ourselves to adapt to different situations. The government should also take time and reevaluate things like town and infrastructure planning, disaster management resources, and rehabilitation process of victims. So now we can have this kind of a conclusion as well, where actually we are asking the government to have a different kind of, policy, or some they should also focus on the rehabilitation, is when you provide food and shelter to people who have been affected by a certain disaster. Okay, you rehab them. People must take precautionary measures in case of emergencies that may help them get out of it. So basically, this is the last, or the what I thought was can be a concluding line, that people should be smart enough to act according to the changes that are occurring. Okay, so these are the different concluding lines that you can have, and these is the way you can conclude. Now, make sure there are certain tips that I want to give you. First of all, use good vocabulary. Try to use good vocabulary. Don't make long sentences. Second thing, please break your text into paragraphs. Even in the answers, I have been facing this problem that when I provide you with the answers or the assignments that I upload, even in literature, I always have them properly punctuated with capitalization, commas, full stops, and everything. And I always break my text into paragraphs. But when I get your copies, every time I'm facing this issue that you people are not submitting, the work the way it is given to you. There is no capitalization. Like, I got copies this week where I could see Hamlet written with a small h. Please, Hamlet is a proper noun. Write it with a capital H, children. And then, if I am writing an answer in two or three paragraphs, then why are you not using paragraphs? You are just writing them all together. Why? It gets very difficult for me actually to understand what you are writing. And definitely, not only that, it gets difficult, your text doesn't look good. It doesn't look presentable at all, because you people are mixing up the entire thing. Please close your camera, whoever is this. And then the last thing that, please, 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 improve your handwriting. You people are not writing in a good handwriting. I see many of you are not using the proper blacks and the blues pens, so please make sure you do it correctly. And prepare well for your monthly test, because they are very important. Your monthly tests are beginning from Monday. Make sure you work hard on them and you prepare well for them. Okay. The first, I think, one is the English language one. In the tenses, I will be giving the do as directed and the translations both. I might ask you to change this, the tense of a sentence, or I might ask you to change the verb of the sentence, whatever. I can ask you both the things, okay? And I can ask you to translate the sentence also. So because we have done all the tenses and we have done the translation for all the tenses, okay? Those of you are coming to school, you know this, that we have done the translations for all the types of sentences. So now in the test, we will be having translations from any kind, and we'll be having uh, the do as directed from any kinds of tense. That is, we have 12 total kinds of tenses. And the next one is, I think, prepositions. So the prepositions, prepare yourself good for the prepositions. I've seen you people making the same mistakes again and again. If there is any issue regarding it, go through the lecture again that is posted on the Google Classroom. Find out where on is used, where at is used, where in is used. Okay, make sure you understand that. Okay. Then for English literature, we'll be having Hamlet. We are having the complete chapter coming in the test. And if you don't have the copy, if you have given me the copy, don't worry about it. You can prepare from the book. Everything will be coming from the book only. Okay. So I hope I've made myself very clear. And these assignments, that is the assignment I'll be uploading today, and the assignment that I have uploaded on Wednesday, which some of you have done and some of you have not. I don't want them next week. I want all these assignments to be turned in after the monthly test. That is on next Monday. Okay. I think in the first week of November. So don't panic yourselves. Don't start completing the assignments If you have time, make sure you do them. But if you don't have time, if you are preparing for the monthly test, do the assignments on the next weekend and submit me the copies. Group A can submit it on Monday or Tuesday, and Group B can submit it on Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, and please write a good essay. Make sure you write it correctly, and please write a little. Like count your words at least. Write 150 to 200 words. Don't write a one-page essay, a very small essay. Okay, try to be explain your topic well. Find facts and figures. Okay, so have I made myself clear? Okay, guys, have a great day, and best of luck for your MTs. Any questions that you people have regarding anything, you can ask me now. You have 2 minutes. Anything regarding the tests or anything, because definitely on Monday when you are coming on Monday, I'll be uploading the tests. If there anything anybody wants to ask me regarding the MTs, again, I'm telling you, don't get upset about doing the assignments. Don't say that there is so much work you have given. I want all of this after the MTs. Okay, students. I'm happy to see that more students have joined today finally. It's better you people are coming in and joining. So have a great day. Allah Hafiz, children. Yes, you have to make a web, Romessa. That's right. You have to make a web. Please make a web. Explain your ideas through a web, okay? Okay, children, make a web and focus on your ideas and thoughts and then start writing. Okay, go through the lecture again if you have missed. Take care. Allah Hafiz.